G'day subscribers, I'm Jules Knight, and today we're going to talk about some accessories that you can get from your local shop. We've got a shout out to one of our members. We'll talk about some restorers hints and also some accessories that we've gotten our little fingers on. So stay tuned, you're on Jive Talking Garage. So the first thing that I wanted to do was just say to subscribers that we were in Super Cheap the other day. And I was there with Lachlan. We were just getting some things for servicing. And what I noticed while I was there was a brake adjuster. Now I've shown you one or two episodes ago the special tools brake adjuster with a hook on it that you put through the backing plate on the brakes, and you can adjust the wind up or wind down of the wheel cylinders. So they had one of those there, and I thought, oh, that's great, because that way people don't have to search high and low for them. Because, you know, if you're working on your car at home, then everyone needs one. But the other thing that they had was a little mirror. Now, NASCO had a mirror, and they had this one there, and it was, you know, telescopic and whatever. So this is, you know, I bought this off them years ago, but they had this one. They are telescopic. NASCO had one that was black, had a black backing, but it's really interesting to note that, you know, here were things that were available in the late 1940s, and here we are in 2021, and you can actually get them from Super Cheap. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's a great idea, and that is a really good service to us, so that we can actually go and get things. Now, I wanted to give a shout out to one of our members, Eddie Ramsbottom. He's a South Australian guy. He recently went through to a big car event in New South Wales via his friend in Ballarat, and this was in his friend's shed. And so it's an owner's manual for an FJ Holdens. So this was the book that you got in the glove box that told you all about your car. So, you know, this is what you needed to read up on when you got your new model, to tell you how everything worked and how everything went together and what you needed to do to operate the car. So Eddie was kind enough to have that forwarded through to me. So I want to say thank you. That's really appreciated. Things like that are just terrific. It's an original one, and it's from, I would suggest, the original owners, L. Adam, in... It looks to be Hughesdale with the script of the time. It's a bit hard to see, you know what, 65 years later or whatever. But look, thank you so much. And also, they gave me a little FJ Holden matches swatch, so they'll go on the dash rack. I think that's terrific. So thank you, Eddie, for organising that. That's great. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk about was what made the FJ really advanced as far as the visual appeal over the 48215, the FX, is the additional chrome work on the grille. Now the 48215 has the vertical grille at the front, and it looks nice for what it is, and it's, you know, terrific for 1948. Obviously designed before then, however, that's when it was released in late 1948 in November. So look, that being the case, 1953 the FJ came along, and I can remember as a kid in the late 60s and early 70s, you'd see an FJ and it just, you got the big sharp grille across the front and with the teeth on it. You think, oh, wow, that looks really flash. Well, what the designers have done is, you know, bring the American influence of chrome and polished stainless and try to create a bit of flash and luxury in updating the design, because there's only a little bit of difference as far as the guards and the bonnet are concerned, and the upper baffle panel, and so on, to go from an FX to an FJ. And I get that. But when you look at the teeth, you think, yeah, you need 9 of them. and you don't give it a second thought. However, it's not until you restore them you realise you don't need 9 of them at all. Now, if I just grab the working copy of my Master Parts catalogue, if I go to 1.286, it will show me that they're not called teeth, they're called moulding bar center. That's 7404003, 4003, which would be the cast number of that one that's engraved in there. And then we have the one underneath of that, which is 7404001, which is outer left hand. So straight away we're seeing, 4001 left hand, and obviously 4002 right hand. It's much smaller casting it's much smaller casting and writing for the outer right hand. But that just goes to show you that there's 3 different types. And so if we just go to the book, and I'll just try and move it up with my hand, you can actually see there's 4 of one, 4 of the other, and 1 in the middle in the center. So that's how they do it, with all the layout of what you need as far as the frog mouth grill and all those sorts of things. And they've got the upper baffle panel up there. And so there's 3 types: 4 of one, 4 of the other, and 1 in the middle. And that's what you need. So don't think for a moment they're all the same. Traps for young players, because they're not. So that's fine. Now look, recently, and I've put this on the Nasco Bay Jive Talking Garage website, I showed subscribers this restorer's hint. Now, what I didn't fully understand nor explain is this little hole that's depicted here on this illustration. Now, this is for the twin light package in the back of a sedan. So this is depicting the bolt pattern that bolts the rear guards to the inside of the boot. Now, this is saying grommet here. Now, if you go to the Nasco Bay website or Nasco Bay Facebook page, Nasco Bay Jive Talking Garage, you'll actually see I've got a picture of that, and I have gone to Walter Bishop's FJ 215. Now, it's the car we go to for any referencing, because it's an untouched FJ. It's unrestored. It's a time capsule. It tells you everything you need to know. All you need to have to do is go and look to find out what the answers to your questions are. How did they do this? Well, you just go and have a look at the stocker, and it tells you. So it's a terrific time capsule on wheels. So I was down at Flight Club the other day, and I was helping away in the boot, and I looked there for a moment, and that third hole up, I looked at it, and it wasn't a bolt at all. I thought it was take the third bolt out, put a grommet in there, and run your wire through, because as subscribers will know, I'm very big on running grommets and inline fuses. But the thing was, when I looked in Walter's car, they already come with the grommets in them. So they've manufactured that FJ. So that's a 1954 FJ, this one. So they've manufactured that FJ, and it's ready to accept that if you buy and install the twin light tail light package on it. So that's the lights in the guards, in those reflector housings. So the reflectors will move, and then the tail lights will go in those housing bodies. So I didn't realise up until 2 weeks ago that that's what the deal was with that sedan. And I've only been playing with FJs since, 1970, 9, yeah, with my mate Mark and my other buddies from 1980. So yeah, so it's things you learn all the time, and that's the beauty of all of this. You learn something new every day. But anyway, let's put that aside. So that's the restorer's hint. Now, from technical wise, I just wanted to just say to people, when you're painting something and you're ready to, whether it be, you strip the panel and you're putting color on it or whatever, it's important to make sure there's no wax or dirt on the panel. So there's a thing called wax and grease remover, a Dulux product, Prepsol. If you don't have Prepsol, I've seen people use, acrylic thinner just to give it a light rub. I've also seen people use spray and wipe or window cleaner or whatever, and you think, oh my goodness, you're trying to use a solvent that's actually going to evaporate. Clean and make sure that there's no wax or grease on there, because otherwise you'll get cat's eyes. What's called cat's eyes? It's like spots that come through the paint. So once you've done that, then it's a case of using what's called a tack rag. Now, tack rag's really good. You can get this, and I'm not plugging super cheap. It's just where I got them from. You'd be able to get them from any tool shop and stuff like that. I think it was like $8 or something, $8. And now, what you do is you use a tack rag for whenever you're going to put new spray, new coat on. And now tack rag's really good because it takes all the lint and fluff and any airbound particles off the panel, and it just tacks onto the rag, and then you just put it aside. Tack rag's really good because you've gone to all that time and effort. You might have had it sandblasted and deoxidined, and then it's a case of now you've got the Prepsol, and you're going to give it a coat of etch and undercoat, and then appropriate color, and you don't want to ruin it by not just doing one step of just making things perfect. So tack rag's always a good idea. That's the technical hint for today. So at the moment, it's nearly Easter in Brisbane, and this afternoon we've gone into lockdown because of COVID-19. So that will give viewers a time frame for when this episode was created. However, yesterday was really the first swap meet that we've been able to attend in probably, shall we say, 13 months or so in Brisbane. And so we were able to go to Ormiston, and Ormiston's like a bayside suburb of Brisbane, just next to Cleveland, which is in the Redlands. And look, having said that, I was able to get a few little things. Now, there's one negotiating point that we'll make in all of this. But anyway, so the first things I got, and I thought I'll use this when I'm setting up the garage. So we've got Ryco, little Ryco sign, and also a Newlon sign. Newlon. Now, I thought, because really, I wanted the Ryco sign. I didn't really care about the Newlon sign, but that's just me. Because I don't know whether I'm going to run a Ryco filter, a Fram, or an AC filter. But anyway, I thought I'll get that Ryco one. Get it when you see it. So I said to the bloke who was on the other side of the table, good morning, see your signs. They don't have any pricing on them. What are you asking? And the fellow said, oh, well, how about you make me an offer? And I said, well, that's your job. I can't buy it and sell it for you as well. So that was a polite way to put him on notice. Like, it's his job to come up with a price. It's not my job. And remember when we talked about our negotiation episode, it's creating an anchor, his sell price and my buy price. Anyway, long story short, $10 for the pair. So, that was terrific. Now, at another place, I came across two of these. The boxes are in pristine condition. They are oil filter elements. They call them, oil filter elements. They're genuine AC. They've got all the doobies in them, and they've even got the pretty paper. I mean, how good's that? That's just great. So I'm sort of the opinion, if you can afford it, buy it when you see it. It's really, really good. I said to the fellow, what are you asking for the oil filters? And the bloke said $10 each. Now, I've paid up to $30 each to get them. So he had two there. He said, another bloke, he's already bought two off me, and I couldn't find those two at the time, and he was going to come back and buy more. So I said, well, he's not here. Do you want my money or maybe his money? He said, no, I'm happy. So him being happy, that's exactly what he did. He sold me those $10 each. So that was great. Great. However, it got better. And the last thing of the day took a decidedly good turn. Now, I love buying unicorns. And I've got to tell you, we've got two today. And this is what I bought yesterday. Now, the thing that attracted me first was the box. That was the box. Love the colour. Yep, sure. As soon as I saw that for AC Delco, you beauty, you've got my attention. Then I saw the NASCO. I'm even more attentive now. So what this is it's finished in semi-gloss black. This little part is designed to go at the bottom of your breather pipe. Now, grey motors don't have a positive crankcase ventilation valve. So what happens is the engine is just a pump. The pistons come up, gasoline is sprayed in mist form into the top of the combustion chamber. At the point of top dead center, the spark plug is ignited and it pushes the piston down. So you've got all of this workings happening in the firing order of your motor. So you get the engine turning over all of the time. And what the engineers don't want to have happen is they don't want the engine working in a vacuum. So what it does, it's what they call it pulses. So by it turning over, what is happening is down the breather pipe, it is pushing air out and then sucking air back in, and pushing air out and sucking air back in. But the problem is when it's sucking air back in, it's sucking rubbish up the breather pipe. It's sucking rubbish up the breather pipe. It happens with modern day cars. I was talking to my mechanic of 40 years about it yesterday. So this is a wonderful little part, and it's made in Australia. It's got front written on it. They've got front on here. Now it's painted in GMH semi-gloss black. And this is to fit and clamp onto the bottom of the breather pipe. And what it does is, so it's at an angle here. So what it does, it's like a one-way valve. It lets it blow, but it doesn't let it suck. So it's one way. So it's pushing the air out, but it doesn't let rubbish come back into the motor. So it's just like a one-way valve. So that's the purpose of that little accessory. Now, I think that's great. I hadn't seen it before. I had to be schooled in all of that because I'm thinking, oh, wow. And I've got to tell you, how good does all of that look? You know, just looks fantastic as far as I'm concerned. One more thing, and then we'll call it a day for you. Maybe two. So, last time we were in the NASCO newsletters, I showed you December of 1954, and it talked about, dear dealers, please utilise the Chevrolet underbonnet light for Holden and Vauxhall E. It can be attached to the reinforcement, and I think they said left-hand side. However, we'll talk about that in a moment. So needless to say, I haven't really seen a real one on an FJ until today. I bought one straight away with a bit of research, and I think it's fantastic. So that's what the new old stock ones really look like. So what I'm going to do is I originally thought about having a switch in the engine bay, and then I was talking to Lachlan about it, and he said, look, I think it would be probably better if you had a switch in the cabin, because you're going to need switches anyway for spotlights and demisters and reversing light and so on. So it's a case of you should have you got switches anyway. So what's one more? I thought, okay, fair enough. Now look, these are not a new idea. In the 70s, look, I've told subscribers my dad had Valiants from 1960 through to 1981. So he went from Holden to Valiant for 20 years or so, and then he went to Ford for the last 30, his last 30. And in around 1976, I suppose, so I think the last two models that he had under bonnet lights. And with his, what would happen was, with Chrysler, when you open the Valiant bonnet, it had like a push-pull switch, very similar to what's in the A-pillar when you open and close a door with a courtesy light. The light above comes on. Well, it was the same sort of thought process, same type of design. So what I'm thinking about doing is, first of all, having a switch for it in the cabin, and secondly, when you think about the engine bay, most of the action happens on the ignition side of it, where the distributor and the spark plug leads and those sorts of things are, as opposed to on the exhaust side of it, which is where the manifold and the engine pipe comes out of. So I'm thinking I'm probably need to at least be in the middle. If I put it on that reinforced rib that goes on the bonnet at the back, rather than mount it on the firewall. I don't think I'm going to mount it on the firewall. That was my first thought. But I think going on the on that reinforced bar, like what they talked about in the newsletter, would most probably be the way to go. And I was having a chat with Scotty about it today, and he said, well, certainly if you put it up there, it'll actually throw good light over where you are, it'll throw light down, not throw light out, the same as it would do if it was actually mounted onto the firewall. And I thought, good point, well made. So that is the underbonnet light for your Holden, Chevrolet, and Vauxhall E. 1954 December, NASCO newsletter. No argument about it. It's in there in black and white. I can't wait to put my car through a scrutineering. It's going to be so much fun. Now, you guys cannot see that, so I'm just going to give up because it just doesn't work anytime I show my phone on this. So we have a pop-up show coming to Victoria Point Shopping Centre So that is the week after Easter. So it's the Saturday after Easter on the 10th of April. So we're talking about 4 until 7. So it'll just be in the car park of the big shopping centre there at Victoria Point. Hungry Jack's is in the car park, one end, and members will also see Big Rooster the other. So yeah, look for the old cars. That's all I can say. I'll be bringing my Mustang, so that'll certainly be in attendance. And with a bit of luck, they can put me where some power is, so that we can have some music and PA and a bit of fun. We've got some draws to do there. We've been very well supported by Councillor Lance Hewlett, the former Deputy Mayor, and also our local State Member of Parliament, the Member for Redlands, the Honourable Kim Richards. So we're very thankful to both of them. So they're good supporters of any community things here in the Redlands, and certainly Lance is a member of Nasco Bay Jive Talking Garage. So happy to have those guys on board. So that gives you a bit of a rundown on some shout out, some technical details, what we did at the swap, also some accessories that you can just pick up at the local show. Also our pop-up show that we've got coming up, which we're calling Classics at Twilight, because you don't just have to have a Holden to come. Though my Holden's not ready, so I'm going to bring my Mustang instead. We've got Neil's bringing his El Camino, and Cheryl's going to bring her 48215, and I've had people reaching out to me to say, look, I've got an EJ Ute, can I bring that? So we're getting all sorts. Lachlan's talking about the guys at his dealership, they want to come along, and some have got JDM, Japanese direct market vehicles. So if we can have an Australian prize, an American prize, a prize for JDM, and a prize for the rest, I've got to tell you, I think it'll be a success, and I hope people go away happy. So it's free to come along, it's free to enter, it's free to look, it's free. It's just something that we're doing because we haven't done it before, and it's a nice thing for people to do. But anyway, that wraps up Jive Talking Garage for today. Don't forget to have a look at the rest of the clips we've got at YouTube for Jive Talking Garage. Just subscribe to the membership. You're very welcome. And also go and have a look at Nasco Bay Jive Talking Garage and just see what we're doing, because there's always lots of things happening at the Quirky Home of Holden. So that sort of wraps up the lead in to Easter of 2020. Take care, look after yourselves, but more importantly, enjoy your Holden.